Let me raise this
Yes.
to you, Senator. President Trump put out a social media post just hours ago claiming he has directed Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth to use available funds to pay the troops on Wednesday. This after Republicans blocked a measure in the House just yesterday to make sure they got paid during the shutdown. What's your response to this development? Assuming the president actually can do this, does it change the negotiations at all?
Right. Democrats, look, we want to pay the men and women in our armed forces, and the quickest way to do it would be for Johnson to come back and negotiate a bill that protects Americans' health care, and then everyone, our soldiers, our and armed service people, the people in the air traffic controllers, the guy who works for the federal government and doesn't make much money cleaning up the floors late at night, they'd all get paid.
We're already seeing paychecks missed, soldiers lining up at food kitchens. Are you concerned that this fight for health care that Democrats are waging here might end up hurting Americans the longer the shutdown drags out?
Republicans have the House, the Senate, and the presidency. They decided to shut the government down. Republicans in the House have decided to remain on vacation. Republicans canceled votes last week, they canceled votes this week, and now they've canceled votes next week. They're not serious about reopening the government. Republicans aren't even serious about paying our active duty troops.
But they have voted for temporary government funding legislation.
Republicans have voted for a...
Control the House, the Republicans control the Senate, the Republicans control the White House. So any shutdown that we have is 100% on them. They fully own this.
Who's voting against the continuing resolution in the Senate right now? Who's voting? Which party is voting against it?
So there may be a party voting against it.
Which party?
But if you want to,
not a party, which?
If you want to get someone to come in your direction, you offer you offer an olive branch and say, here's what we can do together. There's no desire to do that on the part of the Republicans who have the majority. Well, so that's what's happening right now.
So basically, she won't say it. The Democratic Party is refusing to vote for a continuing resolution in the Senate that they voted for 13 times when Joe Biden was the president. You asked how long this is going to go on. You go on CNN.com right now and you can read an article where a Democratic advisor said, quote, this will keep going until planes start falling out of the sky. That is the kind of political party we're dealing with.
Those are some funny clips, right? Yet again, though, this shutdown saga has been a very interesting one because I don't know the court of public opinion is actually behind the Democratic Party. And I think I won't know that for sure unless a poll comes out, more data comes out. But the feeling I'm getting is not a lot of people are buying what the Democrats are selling, right? Oh, we're doing this because we just want more for the American people. But most of Americans oppose the government being shut down in the first place. 70% of Americans don't want the government to shut down, period. But you allow it to get shut down, okay. And 55% of Americans believe you're only doing this to appeal to Democrat voters. So everyone in America essentially, most people in America see this as nothing more than Democrats playing politics with the CR. And then the Democrats don't want to take accountability that they're playing politics with the CR, right? Because they keep trying to say the Republicans control everything. Woe is us. We can do nothing. Right. But we need 60 votes to pass a bill in the Senate. And Republicans only got 53. Yeah, they're the majority, but you still need Democrats to vote for the CR. And Democrats are saying, oh, well, if Republicans want the stuff to be opened, they have to negotiate with us. Oh, so you're holding the government hostage so you can get what you want. Que lindo. How cute. How nice. How spoiled. And then when I go on my channel and I say, hey, yeah, Democrats are a very self-centered party. They think Americans should suffer for their interests, right? Democrats first, America last. Well, yeah, but okay, you're spinning you're spinning some truths. You're being disingenuous with your interpretations. How am I supposed to interpret the actions of the Democratic Party when they're trying to sell me BS? You don't believe me? Here's Chris Cuomo calling it out. Hell. If you don't like me, here's Margaret calling this ish out because I'm tired. I'm tired. Like. Don't piss on me and say it's raining. Don't do that. I'm black. I'm not stupid, right? And this is what infuriates me a lot with tribal politics. And I can be tribal at times, but I admit when I'm being tribal, right? But even with my tribalism, I try to be reasonable. Yeah, I'm looking at it for this because this is my preference, but I can see it your way too. At least that's how I try to be on these channels. But these Democrats, bro, I'm telling you, Hakeem Jeffries isn't the guy. I don't know what they need to do. I don't know who needs to take control of this party, but Democrats need to reset. But I digress. Let's get into the clip.
Right now that there is a debate about funding the government. I've been a little bit confused because Republicans, last time I checked, are in control of the House of Representatives.
You ain't
They're
confused.
in control of the Senate, and then the president signs the bill. Okay, but I've heard people suggest that Democrats somehow have the ability to shut the government down. So can you please educate the people on what's happening?
No, you are not confused.
Okay, all right.
You are a
Thank you.
lawmaker. You understand how this works. And, Republicans don't know how to count. But here's the thing. When you're in a legislative body, you control everything. So if the government shuts down, it's on y'all.
And so the way the safeguards work, checks and balance, but the White House doesn't seem to understand anything about checks and balance. He thinks we're a wholly owned subsidiary, some sort of corporation, that what we should be doing is saying, now that they can't get all the votes, what are they going to give up? That's how the process works. That's how it's always worked. And now they're just trying to use sure might and to be punitive. I know that's not the spirit of my colleague, Congressman Kennedy, but that's the leadership on top.
Right, but it's a little bit of a twist, though, right, Representative? Because you got the presidency is Republican, House is Republican, Senate has this hair-thin margin, but because of the filibuster rule, they don't control it because the Democrats or the minority party can lock it up whenever they want, and that's what's happening right now.
The longer it goes on, Maria, the more significant they're going to be. If you remember, we went 9 days before announcing any significant layoffs. Again, the President of the United States wanted to reopen the government. He was trying to work with Democrats in order to make that happen. But the longer this goes on, the deeper the cuts are going to be. And Maria, to be clear, some of these cuts are going to be painful. This is not a situation that we relish. This is not something that we're looking forward to. But the Democrats have dealt us a pretty difficult set of cards. We're trying to do the best that we can with the shutdown situation that Chuck Schumer has left us.
So let me get this straight, Democrats. Republicans control all branches of government, right? Except the Senate, because there's a filibuster in place where they need 60 votes. Republicans only got a slim majority, right? 53 people, right? And they need you guys to get the 60. You guys don't want to give them the 60, so everything's Republicans' fault because you guys demand that you want additions to the CR, which goes against Donald Trump's agenda for the government. And then when these failed kind of CR votes have been going on, it's now at Republicans' feet, Donald Trump's administration, the executive branch's feet, to make the hard decisions on who gets paid, who's essential, who's not essential. Something that Chuck Schumer warned in March of 2025. And now the scenario is playing out. And somehow you're trying to blame Republicans for this. Like you had nothing to do with this. Nothing. Really. Only a Democrat will believe that. I'm sorry. Only a Democrat will believe that. What? I don't mean to laugh, but it's like how you expect me to believe that? It's like really, Democrat, really, and then the Jasmine Crockett, that video, that clip. Jasmine Crockett need to get out of Congress, bro. She's holding the Democrats back. I'm sorry. I'm not hating. I'm sure she's a very bright woman. I'm sure she's just playing politics, and that was the best answer she could come up with on the spot, right? Saying Republicans can't count, but then she doesn't know the kind of situations that's set up in the Senate, right? But I digress. I'm not here to speak on anyone's intelligence, right? But I'm just saying that the narratives ain't working. They're not working, especially when Donald Trump is using tariff money, right, to fund some of the programs that the Democrats are crying, oh my God, look, Trump's decision is doing this. And I left at the end J.D. Vance's kind of spin on this. And his spin is more believable. Yeah, Democrats gave us a bad hand because at the end of the day, Republicans can't influence the Democrats' vote, right? And this is Democrats, yet again, not taking responsibility for the part they play in on some of the negative outcomes that happens to the American people. Right? And this is what I'm talking about, a more solution-based politics. Because in a solution-based world, You recognize that you play some part into this outcome happening in the first place. And when you even lose Margaret here, right? Always defending y'all. When you lose her, you know it's bad. Because the optics ain't opticking for the Democratic Party right now, especially when they hear stories like, oh, Trump's using tariff money. And then they're going to say, oh, Trump can't do that. What do you mean Trump can't do that? What do you mean? You said y'all said Trump couldn't do a lot of things and he beat y'all in court. What you mean Trump can't fund the government using money coming from outside? He's in control of the discretionary spending, right? Oh no, the power's in the purse of the Congress. Okay, so Congress is going to fight for the ability of the president who's trying to, lessen the impact of the shutdown. You're going to get in the way and block him. Yeah, let's see. Let's see how well that goes down with the American people. I'm just saying, but without further ado, let's get into this clip.
Shutdown went into effect, I went up to see the National Guard. And I'll tell you a Connecticut story. The day after the shutdown went into effect, I went up to see the National Guard at Windsor Locks Airport. We were deploying 500 Connecticut National Guard members to the Middle East. These were 22, 23-year-olds. None of them are wealthy. None of them are going to get paid on October 15th. And I heard the vice president on your show say that this is about the Democrats. The American people understand that the Republicans control the White House, they control the Senate, and they control the House. So when the vice president of the United States is saying this is all about Chuck Schumer, who the American people rejected in the last election, I think the American people see through that.
Well, the White House.
Yeah. So, obfuscating blame. Oh, we had no part in the play of this. Oh, it's the Republicans' fault because they didn't give us what we want. Right. You think the American people can believe that? Democrats, man, I don't know what's going on with you guys. I think y'all learned all the wrong lessons, right? I'm just an American who just wants better for my country. That's all I ask. That's the bare minimum, right? That's the least that I ask for. In what way are you pitching your priorities in the benefit of the American people? Healthcare. You sure that's not a catch-all to hide your own political interests? When people point out your political interests, hey, a lot of blue cities, they take, a lot of sanctuary cities, they take in illegals into their healthcare system and allow illegals to use their Medicare system at a state level. You sure this is a way to reimburse your state for taking on more costs that they were actually able to handle, right? Because they'll be at a loss if they don't get any of this funding that you guys are pushing for in your CR. Crickets. Oh no, this is about the American people, and only a sliver of the budget will go towards illegals. But the problem is, I don't think Americans want any government benefits going to any non-citizens. And this is how the narrative, the memes that Republicans do on Democrats, and Hakeem Jeffries in the sombrero, that's why it pisses them off. Because that narrative, it hits home. There's some hint of truth behind that. Because Americans are asking themselves, why are fighting so damn hard for illegals to get free-ish? Then you realize, oh, the illegals are nothing more than a pawn for Democrats to kind of subsidize the BS that they're doing in the background, right? By having illegals in these sanctuary cities, bolstering their census numbers, so that way they get more representation in federal government. They don't want to pay the cost for all their gerrymandering, demographically, by the way. They want the government to make it easier for them to do their little political leverage games of importing more illegals at no cost to themselves. But when it's time to pay the price for your principles, right? Every resident, regardless if they're documented or undocumented, deserve health care. Okay, when federal government say, hey, we don't support non-citizens getting federal money, so we're going to cut you off the government teat because we find out you're supplying money or benefits to illegals or non-citizens. California, real quick, starting January 2026, we're no longer going to be allowing illegals to use Medicare. Why? I wonder what happened. What made Gavin Newsom change his mind on, oh, he's no longer going to get reimbursed for illegals making claims on his Medicare. That's the whole game, right? I could be wrong, but these are questions that Democrats need to answer. And them trying to, what about is Trump, or try to, but Trump, but it ain't working. It's not working. And then when you find out Trump's using the tariff money to try to fund some of this stuff to mitigate the pain, it makes Democrats look even worse to me in optics, if you were playing the optics game. And this is one of the games that Democrats care a lot about, optics. They love to look good, but they don't want to actually be good. Because if the Democrats actually wanted to be good, they'll just vote in the CR and have these debates while the government's funded. And that's the main point, that people are like, yo, you guys are not smart. You guys are playing politics. You guys are just trying to appeal to your voters and look like you're fighting Trump. Look, we fought Trump. And based on what they're thinking that their calculations, this is the Democrats' calculations, they think they got the right on this. They think the American people's on their side. And it looks like, hey, until the planes fall off, that's how long they want to hold. Okay. Hey, give Donald Trump give Donald Trump full discretion over what's essential in the government. And the Republicans, for the first time since I became aware of politics, what might have a balanced budget by the end of this shutdown. But we'll see. We'll see.
Seems to be trying to take that issue off the table. The president posted on social media that they're going to repurpose funds somehow to pay the military, at least for this pay cycle. Is that sustainable? Is that legal?
Probably not. Again, we just had a little conversation about the White House's understanding of United States law, which is pretty tentative to say the best. The Speaker of the House, because I think to pay the military during a shutdown would require legislation. The Speaker of the House has taken that off the table. So, I mean, is Donald Trump going to say a bunch of stuff? Yes, he's going to say a bunch of stuff, but I don't see anything moving. The House is, as Senator Murphy pointed out, the House is, on vacation. So, no, I don't think that that's very likely.
Well, the Speaker says if the government wasn't shut down, the military would be getting a pay if Democrats voted for the short-term funding.
Where's the lie there? There's no lie. There's no lie there. If you could have avoided all this by voting for the damn CR. That's all you guys had to do. But no. You guys want to play politics with this. And I want to play one more clip because this is a different conversation with Murphy, I believe. And this is the kind of stuff that bites Democrats in the butt because they'll say one thing in 2018 and it's a complete opposite of what they're doing now. And this just shows to many people in the middle, many people who don't pay attention to politics, that Democrats, they don't mean jack-ish what they say. I digress. Let's get into it.
You have been critical in the past of the tactic of choosing to shut down the government. You were in 2018. You were back in 2013 when it was a discussion over health care. This is what you said in 2018.
The future of the American healthcare system was a legitimate public policy issue, as is the security of our borders. But we shouldn't be having the discussion amidst a government shutdown, trying to use our nation's security and all of these federal workers and the work that they do as hostages.
Aren't you doing today exactly what you were criticizing then?
No, that was a fight over sort of the long-term.
You have been critical in the past of the tactic of
deny. They think this is gonna work. I don't think this is gonna work. I don't know. Man, let me know in the comment section. Do you guys think video after video coming out? You think this is gonna work? You think the American people are gonna be on the Democrat side? Especially when you ask Americans, like if you ask most Americans, hey, why do you think Democrats are really fighting this shutdown? They just want to oppose Trump. They just want to look good in front of their voters. Yeah, sounds about right. I think that's what most Americans are thinking right now. Let me know in the comment section. You agree with that sentiment? You disagree with that sentiment? Do you believe Democrats are only doing this to look like they're fighting Donald Trump and opposing Donald Trump? Because remember, there's polls out there. Remember the first time I didn't say they folded. To me, in March of 2025, Democrats did the smart thing. I agreed with what Chuck Schumer did the first time in March of 2025. Hey, you don't want Donald Trump to have power over the government because you believe the government is necessary. Smart, logical, made sense. I was like, yo, Chuck Schumer, I agree with your decision. Hey, look, yeah, you don't want Trump to have the unilateral. You don't want Trump to be in the position where he can make decisions on what is essential and what is not essential. But he did a whole 180 in 6 months. How is that? Because he got backlash from his voters or his constituents in New York. Oh, he didn't fight enough. He didn't fight hard enough. He didn't fight for anything. The Democrats just folded. Now they're trying to break that perception amongst their voters. So Democrats are willing to make nationally Americans suffer just to appease their voters. And this is the kind of thing I try to warn the American population, the national politics of America. Yeah, this is why Democrats need to be in timeout. Because they don't do anything that makes sense in the interest of America. And as much as, you can say Donald Trump could do this better, that better, he could do whatever better, right? You cannot deny that Trump's motive, Trump's interest is in the American people. And a lot of his actions reflect that. And this is where the problem with the Democratic Party. None of their actions reflect that anything they're doing has the best interest of the American people. Because anytime something looks similarly like it's in the best interest of the American people, you find out there's a political, economic angle to it or a conflict of interest that will benefit them politically. And this is the thing, I think the more this stuff goes on, I think the Democrats are going to slowly realize, but I think it's going to be too late by then. So we'll see. I said this will last about a month. Hey, we're halfway there, but we'll see where this goes, especially if Trump's able to extend this with the tariff revenue. I think a lot of the public sentiment will be against the Democratic Party, but I'll leave it at there. Let me know your thoughts and perspective in the comment section below. How you think this is going to turn out? Do you think the Democrats are actually going to win out on this? Or do you think that, like how I'm going to think, that they're going to waste 60 more days on this just to sign the CR anyway and make them look even worse in front of their voters and especially the American people as a whole? Let me know your thoughts and your perspective about the outcomes that you think is going to happen. And I'd like to hear your thoughts and perspective in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Please share this video if you feel so inclined. It really does help me out in the algorithm, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.